Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. I'm Jenny Taft, and as always, joining me, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Good morning, guys. How are we doing?
I'm doing great. Okay, ready? You see what's going on, but I put that towel on, Skip. It's over.
Really?
Yeah, I got to deliver justice.
You're just playing for an elf.
Nah, I got to come with justice. You know?
Really?
Hey, lawyer come in the courtroom with that towel on. You know what happened? Yeah, guilty.
All I can say is I cannot wait to talk about your man, Kendrick Perkins.
Oh, Perk.
Here we go.
We got some drama. We also have the latest with Dak's contract negotiations. Jay Glazer has some info. We'll get to it. But, guys, like you mentioned, we got some drama in the NBA. The online feud between Kendrick Perkins and Kevin Durant continued yesterday after Perk called Kyrie's push to cancel the rest of the NBA season a, quote, distraction, and later added that even calling Kyrie a bird brain would be giving him too much credit. This led KD to fire back and call Perkins a, quote, sellout in an Instagram comment. Shannon, what do you think KD means here?
Still, what he's saying is that Perk played in the NBA, so he kind of knows how the inner workings go. And now Perk is on the other side. He's in the media. Players that play with Perk or currently play and think that Perk should just be quiet, be vanilla, protect their interests, don't say anything negative. Perk, you know you're a player. So anybody that does what we do, that played the game, that's not complimentary, always they sell out. They don't know what they're talking about. You weren't that good. Well, what did you ever win? And that's what they always use. And if you notice, every time KD fires at Perk, he always takes a shot at him. Well, you only average 2 points and 3 rebounds as our center. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, which is abundantly clear.
A lot of air balls.
A lot of air balls. Mm-hmm. Kendrick Perkins was not, is not, will never be, will never has been the player that Kevin Durant or Kyrie or any other of the top players. Mm-hmm. But that's okay. That's not to diminish that he doesn't know what he's talking about. What they're upset about is that they're not denying that Kyrie said this. Mm-hmm. They're asking Perk, why are you putting this out there? Why are you putting this on blast? And Perk was like, Kyrie had no problem going back and playing. Now, this is what Perk is saying. He had no problem going back and playing as long as he was going to be allowed to go down in the bubble, sit on the bench, and cheer his teammates on. Mm-hmm. Once the NBA says, nah, you're not going to be able to do that, all of a sudden he didn't want to play and didn't want anyone else to play. Mm-hmm. So, and plus, Perk and KD kind of got a history going back, Skip. Perk said Russ is the best Oklahoma City Thunder player in history. He also said that KD took the coward's way out, going to link up with Golden State and winning titles that way. Mm-hmm. So they've kind of had a contentious adversarial relationship since that point. Perk doesn't back down. Perk is not going to back down. What I would advise, Skip, when I try to talk about a player, I try to keep his intellect out of it. I know maybe Perk was just saying that in jest, that if Kyrie had a bird had Kyrie brains, it would fly backwards. Maybe I don't think Kyrie has a diminished capacity or anything like that. I just think he thinks outside of the box, and I think it's rubbing a lot of people the wrong way because some people do want to go back and play. And Skip, if you don't, and my thing has always been, if you don't want to go back and play, if you feel that the COVID is a concern of yours, you feel that your voice is going to be muted going back to the bubble with everything, the social injustice that's going on, don't go. But don't try to put the bosh on anybody else and try to speak bad of the NBA for them wanting to go back. So I just think that Kendrick and KD's protecting Kyrie, Skip. They're best friends. And so, I'm going to protect my best friend. I'm not going to let you take shots at him from a distance. Yep. I'm going to try to put the kibosh on that so it doesn't get too far out of hand. But this is going to continue to go on. Perk has a very strong opinion, and he's not going to back down from KD. KD understands that, but I think that's what's going on. That's what he means by selling out. Perk, you played. Now you in the media, now you giving up all the secrets. You know you're not supposed to do that.
There may be some of that going on, but I think it runs and cuts much deeper than you just suggested. I believe that Kevin Durant means that Kendrick Perkins sold Kevin out for LeBron James. That's what it's going down to. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. For 4 years in Oklahoma City, I'm going to remind everybody, Kendrick Perkins was Kevin Durant's enforcer. He was his bodyguard. Right. He was his personal protector. That relationship ran so deep that when Kevin did win the MVP in, 2014, he thanked Kendrick in his big MVP. It was the best speech Kevin's ever given. It was straight from the heart, made everybody cry, brought tears to Russell Westbrook's eyes. Do you remember that?
Yep.
And in that speech, he said of Kendrick Perkins, I hated you before you got here, because remember in Boston, he was seen as this sort of glowering, menacing enforcer type, right? This bully. And yet Kevin concluded, but the moment you got here, you changed my whole perception of you. That's over. That's finished. That's kaput.
He changed it again, huh?
He changed it radically, dramatically, upside down again, because now, in a little bit of a surprise, if not a shock to me, Kendrick Perkins has become LeBron's #1 PR man and #1 fan, super fan, on every TV show he does. He's done ours a few times. He does ESPN. It seems like he's everywhere. And all over social media. He does nothing but protect LeBron. And it's starting to come across to me as if Kendrick almost considers himself part of LeBron's inner circle. It's almost like there's Maverick Carter, and there's Rich Paul, and there's Randy Mims, and there's Perk. There's Kendrick Perkins, like he's the fourth horseman of the inner circle. And if I didn't know any better, because this has gotten so personal, it almost comes across like Perk is on LeBron's payroll. I'm not suggesting, but that's how it feels like LeBron actually directs him to say, oh, I need you to do that for me and that for me and that for me. The big picture is, you pointed out some of the things he's done. Remember, I've been the biggest proponent of Kevin Durant's the best player on the planet. A lot of people have thought that, and Kevin won back-to-back MVPs with big game threes in LeBron's house. But the point is that as the bandwagon started to roll for Kevin being the best player on the planet, all of a sudden, Kendrick is turning up the heat on Kevin, as you suggest, and now on Kevin's best friend, Kyrie. It almost felt like now that Kyrie has dared to sort of challenge LeBron's authority, challenge his preeminence as clearly the #1 activist in all of sports, by saying, hey, I'm going to lead a contingent of players, a coalition of players who shouldn't go to Orlando. And again, it's easy for Kyrie to do this because he's not going. And again, to Perk's point, they told him several weeks ago, you just can't go. It's too risky for you to go and just sit on the bench with your teammates. So he's out anyway. Kevin's obviously out anyway. But now Kyrie, on the conference call last Friday night to 100 players, not featuring LeBron James, he's trying to convince a horde of players to say, let's sit out. Let's boycott Orlando to make a statement by withholding what we do best, what people want us to do, which is provide them the entertainment of NBA basketball at a time they need it most. Let's withhold that just to make a statement. No. Right now, we remain focused, mind, body, soul, on campaigning for racial justice. So all of a sudden it put, as I told you 2 shows ago, it put LeBron in a little bit of an awkward position because he has been the #1 activist. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait, I do want to play. And obviously I told you, I don't blame LeBron for wanting to play. He needs to go win another championship. His clock is ticking. He's at the end of year 17, and they should be the favorites to win this year's championship. And it could help him in his quest to overcome that ghost up in Chicago, the last dance ghost, Michael Jordan. So I'm not condemning LeBron for this, but all of a sudden Kyrie sensed an opening where I can take over leadership in the NBA. And it felt like it was almost LeBron telling Kendrick, you got to go put him in his place. You got to go make him look. That's how it came across to me. And it's all about Kyrie being Kevin's best friend. And then all of a sudden we get the low blow of the bird brain quote that you repeat. I don't even want to repeat it. And then Kendrick Perkins went so far as to suggest that the murder of an 18-year-old African-American woman in LeBron's hometown of Akron that just happened, what are we up to, Thursday, 4 days ago, that it didn't get the national attention it deserved because Kyrie dominated that news cycle with being a distraction. He was the distractor in a way that he made everybody focus attention on a boycott of Orlando and the bubble, when the country should have been talking about the woman who got murdered in Akron. Well, that's just preposterous to me. That's a stretch. That's a leap. Maybe that murder did deserve more attention than it got because I didn't hear a whole lot about it. I don't know the why of it yet. I don't know what happened. I don't know exactly how it transpired or what the motivation was behind it. So we don't know for sure yet. But to put that on Kyrie's head is just a low blow and out of bounds. But those are the links he seems to be going to discredit Kyrie Irving. And I don't understand it because I thought, because remember, Kendrick played 4 years with Kevin, and they went to 3 conference finals together, and Kendrick was a starter on that team, and they obviously won one of those 3, and then they played LeBron's Heat in the finals, and Kendrick played all those games. And by the way, Kevin was really good in those games, so it's not like he saw Kevin at his worst. Kevin played pretty well. He averaged 31 a game. Now, they were blown out in 5 games, but remember, they won game 1. Kevin scored 36 points. So what I'm saying is, it's not like Kendrick saw him at his worst or that he was the reason they lost. He wasn't the reason they lost that. Then he played a few games with LeBron, but only, I think it was a grand total of 17 games with LeBron.
Yeah, but you know the difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he's just sitting on the bench watching, and he decides, oh, this is the guy.
Oh, Skip, hold on. You can be married for 15 years and get divorced and be with another one and say, oh, that's the one. You don't need to be in that another 15 years. He didn't need to be with LeBron for 4 years like he was with KD. He knew after 17 games, that's the dog. That's him.
That's him.
Yeah.
Shannon, all of a sudden, it's LeBron is better than Jordan. We get that from Kendrick Perkins.
Well, he ain't lying.
All of a sudden, now we're